Today, I want to talk about what most people are afraid to talk about: regret. Yeah, we all have it. It's an unavoidable life experience, and yet it's mischaracterized. We avoid acknowledging our regret because we don't want to seem like we don't got our life together, right? So, you know what we say? We say no regrets. But isn't the whole point about life to be changed by your mistakes and to learn from them? The greatest companies in the world, they were not built on perfect decisions. They were shaped through failures, redirection, and bold risks that didn't always pay off. You know, some of the greatest brands that we admire today, I'm sure they got regret. You remember when Elon Musk said that the Cybertruck window was bulletproof and they threw a metal ball at it and it shattered the glass during a live demo. In the 80s, Colgate, the toothpaste company, they came out with frozen meals and didn't last. And I don't know if y'all remember this one, but Cheetos lip balm, the lip balm that tastes like Cheetos. And if you don't, it's probably because no one wanted cheese flavored lips, right? See, just like some of these companies, our regrets aren't the end of the world. I've learned that in our darkest moments, our deepest moments of failure, our most embarrassing things that we deal with, we still exist and we still matter. Did you know research shows that only 1% of people look back at their life and they say, I don't have no regrets. I don't have anything that I regret in my life. And I wonder if it's the people who are truly living. Because the great power of regret is our ability to reset, to reprogram our mind to think a different way, to gain better insight, or to take on a new approach towards something that we value. So the statement of no regrets is a lie. Because no one has the perfect life. No one does all the right things. No one has all the answers before they need it. No one goes through life without making a mistake. But here's the good news. Even though we have regrets, we're not called to live in regret. When you live in regret, here's what happens. It becomes an unresolved spirit in you. And that creates a host of high levels of anxiety and depression, low self-esteem and confidence, struggles in your relationships, lack of personal development, and one of the worst, dwelling on the past. So if we're not called to live in regret, then what are we called to do? We're called to process regret. The definition of regret is poor decisions, missed opportunities, or losses that weigh on our psychological well-being. But I want to offer you a paradigm shift today to change the way you view regret to what I like to call helpful regret, which is poor decisions, missed opportunities, or losses that weigh on your psychological well-being, but create positive change. Empowering ourselves with this idea transforms moments of weakness, and we all gonna have them, into a lifetime of wisdom and growth. This transformation of our regret gives us the ability to reset. So I'm going to share with you 5 ways to use regret to reset. But before I do that, I want to talk about the 5 things you never should do when you have regret. Number 1, let momentary regret lead to a lifetime of bad decisions. You know, they say the definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. Don't do that. 2, use regret as proof that you're not good enough. You are born worthy and you're still worthy regardless of your mistakes. 3, allowing past regret to paralyze you from taking a second chance. You know, life cannot be lived in the past. You got to pick yourself up and continue to move forward. And I know it might be hard, right, to pick yourself out of the mud of shame, but you do it anyway, because a half-lived life is another form of regret. Another thing to never do is to refuse to forgive yourself for your past. And number 5, seeking revenge. Wasted energy. It keeps you stuck in the past. Here's what I need you to know, though. Regret, it isn't a lifetime sentence. It's a start of redemption. It's a chance to break free. And treat yourself the best way you deserve. So today I want to talk to 2 people in the room. 1, the one who has experienced regret, and maybe you become hesitant. And number 2, the one who claims to have no regret, but maybe you've built a callus. Maybe you've gotten good at shutting out the pain that could have led to real change in your life? Well, you know change begins in the mind, right? So before we move forward, I want you to download a few of these affirmations into your spirit, into your mind, so that you can reset your thinking about your life experiences. Because wherever you are right now and whatever you've been through, it is not over. So repeat after me. Goodbye, fear. Hello, courage. Goodbye, guilt. Hello, grace. Goodbye, looking back. Hello, moving forward. Goodbye, second guessing. Hello, second chances. Goodbye, playing small. Hello, stepping into my potential. Goodbye, disappointment. Hello, better me. So how can you recreate yourself? How can you jump out of regret and start living life like you should? All right, so the first way to use regret to reset is to make it your prime aim to never do again. Regret is one of the most powerful teachers of life. It's not intended to make you feel powerless or paralyzed. It's actually fuel to ensure that you never make the same mistake again. Even if you're past the point of being able to change a specific outcome, not being present with a loved one in their final moments, never trying out for the school team, waiting too long to forgive someone, or reconciling a relationship, missing the opportunity to have biological children, whatever that situation is, you still have the power to shift your thinking and actions so that you never repeat the pattern that led to the regret. For example, if regret comes from delaying a decision or letting other people's opinion carry more weight than your own, then the reset moment is to make the conscious choice that moving forward, you'll always trust yourself first. Regret itself, it becomes a defining moment, a chance to upgrade your personal standards, the way you view your life and the way you live. To make something your prime aim to never do again, you got to make it something that you consciously choose to do for the rest of your life. Some of my greatest values, they come from my regret, my traumatic events, challenges, things I wish had gone a different way. I think about the time when I was at USA Olympic trials in 2012 for the 200-meter dash. I made it to the semifinals, and I was one spot away from making it to the finals. Now, technically, I was supposed to be in that finals because Tyson Gay, he stepped on the line, and that's an automatic disqualification. And I had the opportunity to petition that decision. But one of my coaches told me, Charles, don't even bother. He said, Tyson Gay, and at the time, Tyson Gay, he was one of the top athletes in the world. He said, Charles, they're not going to disqualify him. And I let those words be louder than my own instinct. Meanwhile, on TV, they were replaying the footage, breaking down why he should have been eliminated. Had I followed through and petitioned, I would have been in that finals. But I didn't. I let someone else's voice override my own conviction. We sometimes let other people's advice be the end-all be-all, don't we? Which makes it difficult for us to be compelled by our own convictions. But here's what I had it all wrong. My relationship with myself has to be more important than anyone else's opinion. That moment became a turning point for my life. And from that day forward, I made the vow to never let someone else's doubt hold more weight than my own belief. And you might say, Charles, that would have been a very pivotal moment in your life had you made it to the finals. But guess what? It still is a pivotal moment. Either way, the story works for you. Number 2, live today like there's no tomorrow. The biggest problem people have is that they're constantly living in the right now. Right now, I got these bills. Right now, I'm tired. Right now, I'm going through a hard time. Right now, I got these kids. And so right now, it keeps them in a cycle of regret, and they never make it out because the focus of today is always on right now and not living life like tomorrow doesn't exist. I was on a plane 2 weeks ago heading to San Francisco, and I sat next to this lady named Connie. Connie, she does travel destinations for groups all around the world. I think they were headed to Singapore. And I asked Connie, I said, Connie, what made you get into doing something like this? And she said, 10 years ago to this day, I had stage 4 cancer. I was literally on my deathbed, Charles. She said tomorrow was impossible for me to fathom many times. And so while I was on my deathbed, I thought about What would I wish I had done? What would I had regret not doing? And she wrote down her answer. And it was to see the world. She gave me her business card, and the tagline on it said, "The world is your oyster." I want you to imagine for a second, you being on your deathbed. What would you wish you had done? What would you wish you had said? What would you regret not doing? Today is the greatest possibility to take a chance because tomorrow doesn't exist. And I say, even if you fail, well, at least you tried. At least you know, and you can have peace in knowing that you did all you could. You got to remember, don't put off tomorrow what you can do today. Because opportunities, they don't last a lifetime. They last a moment in time. No one wants to go through life putting off things for tomorrow or being so consumed in the past that our best conversations are, "You remember when? Why didn't I? If only I." That's not healthy. You got to get to a place in your life where you get unstuck and start asking yourself, what can I do now? You got to get to a point in your life where you accept that it is what it is. What's next? You got to get out of your pity and start understanding that you are still worthy, that you still have value, and focus on what you can do now instead of what you have done. The biggest regret people have when they're on their deathbed, it isn't what they did, but what they didn't do. Imagine taking action on that now. Because guess what? We all are going to get to that end at some point of our lives. Somehow, some way. Hopefully not right now. But when we do, your focus can be on how you fully lived, the experiences that you had, the places that you saw, the bravery that you showed up with. That's what it means to truly live today. Here's a third thing I want to give you. You got to understand why you regret something. When you carry regret with you, you're not learning from it. You are letting regret rob you of happiness, and that weighs you down. And that weight, it feels like hurt. It feels like disappointment, doesn't it? It feels like self-blame and pity. Let me get real with you for a moment. How long do you want to carry that burden? The burden of not believing in yourself as much as you should. Not living for yourself, but for everyone else. Letting fears dictate your decisions. Holding on to people who have already let you go. How long do you want to carry that with you? How long do you want to sacrifice your happiness for someone else's expectation? And what good is going to come out of that? Here's what's more helpful for you. Learning from your mistakes and having the awareness of how it made you feel. Let me give you something that helped me. It's time that you get over it. You made the best decision with the knowledge that you had, and you hoped it was a good decision, but it wasn't. And that's okay, because you can learn from it now. Let losses be lessons at this point. I want to do this exercise with you so that you can begin processing this reset moment. Let's take a moment to reflect on your regret. If possible, I want you to grab a sheet of paper and I want you to write down your thoughts. Be intentional right here. Question 1, what is your regret? Question 2, what caused you to label this experience as regret? Now, I want you to be open and honest with yourself here. Be real. No one's watching. You don't have to share it with anyone. Whatever you have to say here is valid. Question 3, connect an emotion to it. How did it make you feel? And why did it make you feel that way? Question 4, what lessons or wisdom can you take from the experience to grow into a better version of yourself today? And the final question is, what is your belief now about the decision that you made that led to the regret? This question will change the status of your belief, where it becomes old thinking. And now, it may feel like you're losing a sense of who you are because that belief is what you practice. But this question is so profound because it's the moment of reset, to recreate yourself and rebuild the foundation of your past. Now, the thing I'll say here is don't beat yourself up for what you learned. That will defeat the entire purpose of it. Simply press forward with the new knowledge that you have today. Here's the 4th point. It's really simple. Find a new purpose and passion. You got to stop staring at your problem and focus on the solution now. Because when you dwell on regret, you wind up beating yourself up over something that you can't change. But when you channel that energy into passion, you unlock a whole new purpose inside of you. After my divorce, I struggled to find something to look forward to. My motivation, my drive, it was all gone. And I really wanted to build my dream home. But I kept saying to myself, what is the point of building something when you don't have someone to share it with? I was stuck in this mindset of staring at my losses, staring at my problems, instead of the opportunities that were before me. But if I buried my dreams because of my failures, what kind of man would I be? See, just because something in your life has failed, it doesn't mean your desires have to die with it. You don't have to hide or you don't have to give up. You just got to find a new reason to show up, a reason to hope. And most people, they are afraid to hope because hope requires vulnerability. It means believing into something that you can't see. But here's the truth. The Bible says in Romans 5:5, hope does not put us to shame. So resetting your mind is so important to find that passion, to find that purpose. Here's the key. When you reset your mind, you reframe your view. And here's the beautiful thing that I need you to understand. Resetting your mind, it doesn't change what happened, but it does change how you see it. And that shift gives you the strength to move forward. So how can you begin to make that shift in your life? Don't focus on the problem anymore. Instead, I want you to use the power of suggestion to plant seeds into your subconscious mind so that it can lead to you feeling and acting a certain way. So rather than life happening for you by default, you start suggesting the life that you want to live. So last week I went back home to see my dad. He was in the hospital and he's doing well now. But I stopped at Black Rifle Coffee to order a chai tea latte, cup of coffee for him, and an egg sandwich. And when I pulled through the drive-thru, the total was $17.50. And I'm thinking to myself, dang, this is some expensive coffee and tea. And when the barista handed me the drink, I noticed how huge it was. It was way bigger than I expected. Since I normally order a small, I asked her, I said, what size coffee and tea are these? And she said it's a large. And this is when it hit me. I never actually said the size that I wanted. So she picked it for me. If you don't speak up for what you want in life, life will make the choice for you. And this is where the power of suggestion should come in your life. You must actively tell yourself and the world what you want, or someone else will decide it for you. How can you begin to use the power of suggestion in your life? Through positive self-suggestion. Every morning, what I do is I dedicate 60 seconds to write down my intention for the day. I write down how I want my day to start, and I write down how I want my night to end. I also use affirmations to use self-suggestion. You know, when I was going through my divorce, and even now, I still tell myself, healthy relationships will pursue me. God's perfect promise and will for my life will pursue me. I am made for the experiences that brings me joy, happiness, prosperity, and a sense of pride. Nothing is more important than right now. Nothing is impossible for God. Nothing is wasted, which makes this very moment perfect. I have the courage to find my future. Everything is working for my good. The love I want exists. I say these words to myself. And these words don't just keep me from losing my hope, but they elevate my mindset. They motivate me to set goals and ultimately gives me the courage to find a new purpose and to build my dream home. I like to say to myself, I'm an exceptional human. And guess what else? You are too. When you keep hope alive, you can manage the weight of any situation. You rediscover your passion and you find a new purpose to rise and thrive again. The final point I want to share with you today is this. There are so many people carrying their old stories. You know, they reminisce about the good days as if they can't create them today. They say things like, you remember when we used to do this back in the day? Now, there's nothing wrong with reflecting on your life. But if you have to live in the past to find happiness, you are not truly living. When you live in the past, you're actually living out the regret of, I should have walked away sooner. I wasted so much time. I should have spoken up. Why didn't I believe in myself and go for that career? I wish that I had been brave. But when you live this way, the regret never leaves you. The more power you give regret, the less equipped you'll be. The more power you give that fear, the less likely you are to succeed. The more power you give that broken relationship, the less room you leave for love. The more power you give your past, the less you see your future. Living in regret is deeper than the pain that caused the regret. And some of us, we have gotten good at holding on to that regret, haven't we? And we think that we're not worthy. But I say it again, like I said it before, you got to let it go and give it to God, because he can heal you. He can do far more than you can do by yourself. We tend to hold on to our brokenness, but when we give it to God, sin is gone. Rejection is gone. Unworthiness is gone. He will take the broken pieces of you and put you back together. And if you don't know where to start in that process, just say this prayer. God, I confess my sins to you. And whatever that sin is, I want you to say it out loud. Forgive me. I need you. This weight I've been carrying is too much. I tried everything, and it turns out I need you. Because you alone are the one who can do exceedingly, abundantly, more than I can ask or think. Make me new. Heal my heart and change my ways. Amen. And after you say that prayer, don't take it back. Let go of the hurt, whether someone caused it or you caused it yourself, and trust that God is already working, even if you don't see it. Psalms 46:10 says, be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted in the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. And I love this song. It says, God will work it out. Yes, God will work it out. One thing I know, one thing I found is God will work it out. He'll work it out for you. The thriving thought of the week I want to leave you with today is this. Regret isn't meant to hold you back. It's a reset button for your life. In fact, regret should refine you, not define you. Learn, grow, move forward. Your future self will be proud of it. And hey, if today is too hard, a little ice cream won't hurt, right? Remember this, how you transform your regret into a reset moment. 1, don't repeat the same mistake. 2, live like tomorrow doesn't exist. 3, understand your regret. 4, find a new purpose. And 5, give it to God. Hey, I'm Charles Clark. And remember, make your day as great as you want it to be. But before you do that, make sure you consider how precious your life is. You don't have tomorrow. All you got is right now. So don't let the door hit you on the way out. Get up, get moving, get happy. Rise and thrive. Peace out.